Now,
You live on YouTube.
so I'm broadcasting live on YouTube right here.
Yep,
Here.
that's you right there.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now, when I want to show the screen,
Go down to
because
present at the bottom. Yeah. Screen share. Yeah. Go up. Share screen. It's gonna click window, and then whatever screen you want to share. That's your folder right there.
this,
Yeah. Yeah. And then push share. And then when you want to stop sharing, just push that stop sharing and go back.
okay, I've been telling people that we've been at war. These are the ones I'm gonna call over. Okay. And that's where they already at. So yeah, yeah, I went to go see what was going on. It was turned. They had turned off my camera. Instagram did. Okay, now what I'm trying to determine is how to make this show up. Oh, doctor, I think I got it now. No, that's not it. No. So he gonna have to come down here and show me what I'm doing, cause this ain't working. I'm learning some stuff, but this is still trying to figure it out, y'all. Y'all just watching me learning and fumbling in real time. Coolest shit in the world is to learn something new. No, that's not what I want. Remove these. Remove that one. That's not it. So we want to talk about reclassification. I'm just going to start by going back to stop the screen share over here. Um, this ain't working. So from the that's right. Okay. Um, I want to go over when the reclassification of the tribes because what a lot of us don't realize that most of us didn't make treaties. The majority, the overwhelming majority of the clans organic to the Americas didn't make treaties. The minority of the clans making treaties was the same it's saying put that bear in the headlock until we figure out how to take him down. So we got an ongoing set of events transpiring on the land while we trying to determine. Wait a minute. I know it got to be more than two people watching. What am I missing? Oh, seven people watching. Anyway, so I went in the Q&A with AI and had AI write me an essay with references about the reclassification. But before we go over that, I'm gonna have to go over the war effort, right? So let me try this. This might work. I'm trying some, y'all. Storage D today. So, I don't know what's going on over here. On my Instagram page, I'm not getting a good internet feed on my cell phone, so it's blacking me out on Instagram. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish this on YouTube. So go on YouTube to Holistic Herd Paradise, and that should pull up the live that I'm broadcasting from. If y'all on Instagram, I'm about to. Well, it's gonna cut off itself because of the Instagram. The internet feed is weak, so when it cut off, I'm not gonna cut it back on. I'm just gonna focus on the YouTube live. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait for him to come back down. Um, if y'all can hear me on the YouTube side, can y'all give me some ones in the comments? Cause I'm not seeing nothing over here. It looks like nobody's. Oh, I'm not gonna worry about that. Uh, let's see, from here to here. Oh, I can't get this thing back right, so I'm gonna wait for him to come down. Uh, okay, so y'all can hear me good. Anyway, so we're gonna go over some reclassifications and some different things. So for those who's watching on my Instagram keep cutting off. So
You set that to the side.
yeah. Oh, wait. Man, you know I can't do this and eat at the same time.
I know, man. You want to take it up there and put in the microwave for you?
I will.
There you go. Now, you can just sit wherever you want to, man.
Let me do this.
Yeah.
I need your help over here. I can't get the stuff that I'm trying to share to show up, to blow up so I can show it.
Okay, just get right here. Like when you go there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which one do you want?
Go to my
That's your Instagram. What you want? Is this your?
I had it up earlier. I don't know where it went. That's my photos.
Right here.
There you go. Yeah. I want to show them.
Okay, let me see. This might be it.
Is this square right here how that look?
Yeah, that's how it's showing.
Okay.
But that's not what you got. You want up there.
No, I want right here. I want them pictures so I can click them as a slide.
I wonder why that shit not showing.
This
Is this them doing that? Let me see something. Right, there go your folder. Okay, let me hide that. Now let's see what you showing right there. Yeah, that's showing. See, when you on the ride, you'll be right here. Like that's where you at. No, that's not. No, this is where you at. Okay.
Right now, I want to pull these up and show them individually and zoom in on them. I can't do nothing.
You put them in the D file, didn't you?
Yeah, that's where they at right now. That's where you at in the D file. 8 items.
They should be in this. This the D file right here. See? Oh, it might be here. You see them in there? I think they are. Ain't that some of them? Yep, that's your stuff.
Okay, now
You just go in. They in this file somewhere. Then, like that's probably your stuff. It's a lot of stuff in there, probably yours. There's one there.
Yeah,
boy.
but I see they was all. That's why I selected the 8 because them was the ones I was finna go over for now.
So
and
is
then
it these 8? Is this 2, 4, 6, and it's 2 more?
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of them? Were they forms?
No, there go one.
Yep. Okay, well they all in here. You can find them.
Hold on. Let's click them so we can go select them as we go. Click that. Okay, that's all 8 of them right there.
Okay, no, it's gonna be right here. I'm gonna open this right here, and then all you have to do is do this. Go that way, like that. No, that's the only one of them. Okay, we're gonna open them all up so we'll have them in the window. We'll close this shit. Cause you already had put them over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what other was that? Right here. Lower it down. Do it again.
Okay, when you click them, you can select let me show you.
Yeah.
All right, I do it.
You know how to do it now?
Hold on. The ones I want to select the ones that I want to use and pull them separate from these. I got it. I know what to do.
Just put them in your folder.
We in my folder.
No, you in the other D file. Your folder is a part of the D file. You got your own folder right there, Rod Hayes. See, that's the D file. It's a lot of folders.
Hold on. Well, for right now,
yeah.
For the ones I'm about to do, I'm finna make a new folder.
Okay, go ahead.
New folder. Okay, now that one I'm going to put belligerent tribes. Okay, now that folder is created.
And wherever you want to save it, you can save it to wherever you want to be right quick. And when you click on it, just click on that folder and open it up. And then when you go through the thing, you can go out and start over and click on that.
gotta find one more.
Nice. That's something you got down here. These are all yours, right?
I didn't. All I did
If you
was.
hit the side.
But I didn't. That's not it.
How did you get this up there?
I don't know.
Let me just close that one out.
Okay, this is where I was at.
Yeah, this is where you want to be. Don't like it. These now here. These not.
Okay, now I was moving in the process of moving this, and then it blew up like that. So let me see.
You can just. I don't know. I don't know where you want it at. There you go. Okay. All you gotta do is just move it to your the folder you want it in. Just drag it to it.
Oh yeah, I did that so I could see if it was the right one.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, when you just click it, it'll blow up on its own. Double click it, and then you can just exit out. You know. That's it.
No, that's not the right page. That's not even the right So I gotta go back, scroll through. There's one more I gotta find. Man, you gonna load all my pictures in there? Not pictures.
They uploaded them all in there?
The whole phone. That's why it's so hard to find what I'm looking for.
Oh, it uploaded your whole phone in there? Delete it. What?
Hold on. No, it's just access to my phone. Maybe if I go to my phone, I can find what I'm looking for. Right here. There's one more picture that I need. Definitely gonna find it like that.
You know what it's under in your phone with the name of the file is in your phone?
It's just a picture. I don't know if these are in order. I put them in order to send them. So any minute now, I'm gonna be ready to take flight on this class. Shout out to Dolo the Potty Man, the flight boss. Shout out to the young elder. Shout out to Brother Rich, Black Magic 363. Shout out to Black Girl Magic in all her many glorious forms. And I'm not gonna find what I'm looking for in here. Okay, look. I'm gonna do this different. The picture I want, I'm about to send it to you. All right. One more picture that I need in the file.
I tell you what, when you send it, email it. You just go to the email.
I'm gonna send it to you on your phone.
Okay.
And then you gonna put it on your phone.
All right.
All right. Where's my phone? Here. Oh, I could send it to the Yahoo, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rodney3000 at yahoo.com.
Yeah, I got that.
You just click on there and just download it. Save it and save it to where you want to save it. When you go into there, go to the refresh button and so let it refresh, and when you see the name of it pop up,
that's when it's ready.
Yeah, that's when it's ready to click. If you click it before then, it ain't gonna come up.
Okay, it's sent now. It should be there.
Okay, you still live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me because you right here, and this is what they seeing right there. What you at? So we gonna stop screen sharing right there, right quick. Stop sharing the screen. So now all they seeing is that.
Okay.
So now we can go right here and get the.
That's national debt relief. That ain't it.
You should have Tarani 3000 at Yahoo.
Mm-hmm.
I said 737. That wasn't you. No. What is that? I don't know what that is. I need to
Check your spam folder.
check more spam. You don't even see spam, bro. And they filter all the spam out.
There you go.
Right
Phone
there.
number, yeah.
There you go. Ah, let me see. Okay, when it come in, when that stop going, then click on the email. And then it should, let me see, it should go in after that.
So y'all watching me learn this in real time.
That's
Yep,
it right
that's
there.
it.
Okay, save. What you want to save?
Belligerent files right there. No. Save. Okay, it should be in that folder now.
Yep, so that folder now. Now all you gotta do is go to that folder and you wanna open it up. Where is it at? You put it
Go to the D file. You're not in D file. You're in pictures. There you go.
which one is it? This
Yeah.
one? Right there?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna open that up like that. And then right here, while you right here, what you gonna do if you want that one? Oh shit.
Good thing.
I did.
Present. Share screen. Share screen. Window.
It's this one right here, right?
Yeah. Share.
And then you go back to right here and you click on it. And like you right here in the screen, and then you can still interact with your people. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So this is where we gonna start at on reclassification of us as slaves and Negroes. Now, I'm trying to blow it up a little bigger. It say, although attempts to abolish slavery failed by a narrow margin in the legislature, in practical terms, the state had mostly ended the practice. Now, this is the part right here that we would normally brush over and overlook this while we reading the document, right? So right here it says by 1860 census. The census is the government's count of the people on the land. It says on the verge of the Civil War, 91.7% of the black population were free. Do you know what that means? Right there. 91.7% of the black population were free. Now, pay attention. 1,798 people were slaves. Out of the black population, 798 people were slaves, as compared to the 19,829 free colored persons. That's trickery in the first degree. First of all, 91.7% of the black population being free, where they come from? They didn't come over as slaves, right? If they was all free, now that's a different from the 19,829 so-called free colored persons. Why is it different? Because free colored persons is a different legal designation for a small group of people, right? You can't be a free colored person unless you were first a captive colored person. You got to keep that in mind. It's a difference from a free man and a freed man. These is what you would call your manumission servants that they call slaves, right? So now, while we looking at a small percentage of the population, right? Now watch this. An independent black denomination was chartered in 1813 by a freed slave. Now remember what I just told you up here. Peter Spencer as the Union Church of Africans, right? Now, that's only 1,000 people that this group come from that were freed that became part of an African doctrine unity church, right? This followed the 1793 establishment in Philadelphia of the African Methodist Episcopal Church by Richard Allen, which had ties to the Methodist Episcopal Church until 1816. Now, this becomes important because the Methodist Church concealed a lot of the tribal secrets of the original clans. So this is why you seeing this being spelled out like this, because it's really the Phoenix Rising sent this to me. This part of bringing the chiefs to the awareness of what was going on, so that when Haiti move into their position, we'd be able to see it. Right now, leaving here. Let's see, how do I get out of here? Okay, now going back into the okay. Now we come to this. Now, this is really important to know. This is so important, but you don't understand how important this is until you really pay attention to what these people are saying. Under military, pertaining to war or the army, concerned with war, the 6th edition of Black's Law, right? It says, see note, the amendatory act to the Trading with the Enemy Act of October the 6th, 1917, right? Namely, the Emergency Banking Relief Act of March the 9th, 1933, defined the American people as the enemy legally of the United States government because of the U.S. bankruptcy through which the private international Federal Reserve System became the government creditor of the United States. They're showing you now, really pay attention. define the American people as the enemy. They're not talking about paleface. They're saying the American people is us, those organic tribes that was already here. I've been telling y'all for the longest that we was in a hostile situation under a hostile corporation masquerading as our government, right? This right here in the Emergency Banking Relief Act, they flat out telling you what I said. They define the American people as the enemy legally of the United States government. How can you be an enemy to your government? So they called us belligerent tribes and they designated us a status, right? Hold on, I'm trying to. Okay, I can't do it from there.
You want to switch it?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Trying to go to another picture.
Okay, just go back. Stop sharing. Just push stop sharing, and then.
Okay.
No. Go to present. Have you already pulled it up? Is it in there already?
It's in that folder. I was in.
No, just go to the folder right quick, and you got to open it.
Just it's already open. It's it. So this.
Which one you want to bring up now?
I think that's the last one. So this is the first one.
Double click on it. Okay. Now go back down to your screen share. Go right here. Go back to your Click that, and now go to present and start. It should be in there now. When you go up there, you see it. Share screen.
Shit.
Just click this. No, just go. All you got to do is go back and click on it.
I accidentally closed off the picture.
You close the picture out?
Yeah.
You go back over there and open it right back up. Double click on it. Okay. Now what you do? Go back down there. You gotta close the screen out. Go right there. Go back right there. All right. Yeah. Go and click. Now close that screen. Now click. Ain't that the screen you want up there?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. Click that. Click share. Okay. Now what you do is just.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got
it.
So the question posed there is, how did the government deal with the non-treaty tribes? They call them belligerent tribes. And AI said the United States dealt with belligerent tribes in a variety of ways depending on the specific circumstances. Some of the most common methods included war. See that? The U.S. military often fought wars against Native American tribes, particularly in the 19th century. See, they had you thinking that we wasn't fighting the entire time. The 19th century is the 1800s, people. That's the 1800s. The 19th century is the 1800s, right? The early 1900s is where a lot of the legal maneuvering take place to trap us with jurisprudence, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now, it said that the U.S. military often fought wars against Native American tribes, particularly in the 19th century. These wars were often brutal and resulted in the deaths of Native Americans, right? And then it said treaty making. Now, look, how you gonna make a treaty with us that involves surrendering Mother Earth when we are not allowed, or no chief believe in their heart of hearts that they are allowed to sell Earth? None of us. I wish he was down here because I would show y'all how I do it when he come back. So anyway, the U.S. government also made treaties with Native American tribes in which the tribes agreed to cede their land to the U.S. in exchange for certain rights and benefits. First of all, at that point, all of the chiefs know that no right or benefit that the government is giving us is better than the right of being a resident on this planet, on Mother Earth. We have a reverence for the planet and a reverence for our position as caretakers. Now, watch what they say. These treaties were often broken by the U.S. government, leading to further conflict. What that mean? The government, remember, we canceled all treaties for fraud, that which they kept secret in the organizing of the agreements, and for non-performance, meaning that they never honored a single treaty and they broke every one that they had an opportunity to break as often as they chose to, with no regard for any other clans, including the so-called five civilized tribes, which you're going to get to in a minute. Now, hey, Rob, how do I take this bar right here so I can see the whole document? See this right here?
Take that bar off.
Yeah, right here.
I don't. That here. That's on the. Let me see it right. That's on you. That's on the screen. You on right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's this one, right? Okay, we want that bar off. That shouldn't have been on there no way. I wonder why. Is that's a screenshot? I think. No, that's in this.
That's the bottom of that page. See, I can't see this down here on the document.
It won't even move either. Smooth. Setting. I don't know, Rod. I can't tell you about that.
There we go.
Yeah, you're gonna have to escape because they can see you, but you can't see them. So you're gonna have to, like hit escape. I think. There you go. Just hit escape.
What is it? Cover it up.
There you go. Just hit escape.
Okay, now go back to the.
Yeah, go ahead. It should be showing. Yeah, there you go.
Right. Okay. Now, the third thing was relocation. Now, remember, we was already here, and they about to tell us where we supposed to be at on our own land. The U.S. government also relocated Native American tribes to reservations. Stop. Did you see this? The U.S. government also relocated Native American tribes to reservations. Now, the first question that I would ask, right, is who gave them the right to move the people from the land into an isolated enclosure, a zoo called a reservation? Now, who gave them permission to do that? Who told them that well, just go on and move them off their land and put them where you want them at? Just put them where you want them at. Who gave them permission to do that? Who authorized the U.S. government to relocate the native or the people that was already the organics onto a reservation? Now watch this. Which were often located in remote and inhospitable areas. That means the land they don't want, they want to send the people that they don't want on the land to the land that they don't want. This policy was intended to assimilate Native Americans into white American culture, but it often led to poverty and hardship. And that's a real simple problem to fix, because the reason it ended in poverty and hardship is because we was stonewalled, like the BRICS nation is building bricks to dam up the American currency so you can see the current flow when it backflow and push inflation back. So they gonna move us where they want, and it caused the poverty and the hardship is because they cut us off from resources. That's a military strategy that they used to call a city under siege. But we didn't live in enclosed cities like they did in Europe over here, so they had to find an alternative means. So the land that they thought that they didn't want is where they set the reservations up. So that they had poor farming area. They can't sustain themselves because they can't grow crops, and all of the tribes know how to take care of themselves by living off the fat of the land. We didn't need their currency. This was so that they can assimilate us into utilizing their currency so they can economically assassinate us as a people. They showing it to you right here and how they dealing with the belligerent tribes. Now, the next phase is assimilation. The U.S. government also attempted to assimilate Native Americans into white American culture through education, religious conversion, and other means. This policy was often unsuccessful as Native Americans retained their own cultures and identities. You see that, people? Because we always knew who we were from ever since we've been here. Like, even in the amnesia that was caused in the Conjure War, we still kept our culture intact and it evolved. If we look back on what we call hip hop, right? If I want to show a YouTube video here, is that possible?
Yeah. You on the same thing? You don't even let me see. You got stop sharing. Hold up, let me see. We'll make it simple for you. Right? Stop sharing. Stop sharing, and then you're gonna go right here. And then you gonna go to YouTube, you're gonna open it up. Okay, then you're gonna come back here.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is it? Then you just go to that, just like anything else, go to YouTube. That'll be YouTube right there. And then you go back right here. Because see, when you do YouTube, though, you're going to have to be over there. But that right here is where you at. You can go find your YouTube.
Okay, so when I'm about to play a Chuck Berry video.
Just look it up right here. You look up Chuck Berry.
Yeah. Okay, the purpose of this song is to show y'all that we kept our culture intact. This is a Chuck Berry song. This song is from the 1950s, right?
Okay, now the only way you're gonna be able to see it, you in that, is like right here. Let me show you. Just go over there and scroll up, and yeah, but it ain't gonna show Chuck Berry. What I'm saying, that's what I was trying to show you. Let me show you something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're gonna click back on here, but what you're gonna do once you get it playing, you just gonna scroll over and that so you can read your comments and stuff until you get through playing. Then all you gotta do is move back over and do what you want to do. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But right now, you want to play it because you can turn it down there.
Yeah, I don't have to turn it down.
Okay.
I can turn it down right here.
Yeah, you can turn it down right there. Yeah. Like that. So if you want to play it.
Yeah.
Okay. Go back right here.
Can they hear it?
Yeah, they hear it. Just play it now.
Running to and fro, hard working at the mill, never fail in the mill, yet come around the
go
mill.
back, just click right there.
Much more business.
One next to it.
Much more business. Much more business.
Click on that
Me to be involved.
Okay.
See them talking to me, trying to run me up a creek. Say you can buy it, go and try it. You can pay me next week. Much more business. Much more business. Too much more business for me to be involved in. Blonde hair, good looking, trying to get me hooked, want me to marry, get a home, settle down, write a book. Too much business.
Go back to the other side.
Too much business. Too much business for me
Click on this
to be
one. Yeah, and then just push pause. Stop. Yeah.
Okay, now.
You can go back now. Go back to the other side.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. All right, now I see it. So
you can stop sharing on that too.
And stop sharing. Yeah. All right, now the reason I played that, and I'm looking at the comments now. Did that sound like a rap song? Was Chuck Berry rapping in that song? Blind head, good look, settle down, write a book.
Yep.
Too much. Is he rapping?
You can say that.
Chuck Berry is a Native American. Watch. So go to the page right here. Okay, that's okay. Now when I want to go to Google, why do I get to Google from here?
Just
a new tab. Okay, I
yeah,
go
new
back.
tab. Do a new tab.
Okay, watch this. Now,
and they can see
everybody
right
know Chuck Berry, a Native American. I'm just showing y'all the hip hop link to the culture, right? Right here, it says Janice Noreen Escalante, aka Chuck Berry, was born on October the 18th, 1926, in St. Louis, Missouri. Oh, y'all, I'm not even sharing. I gotta share.
Yeah, you gotta go back. You gotta go to that screen.
Yeah, I got it. Window. Chuck Berry.
I'm gonna show you. That's
I got it.
Yeah. And all you got, you can just
Okay, now look. He grew up in a working class African American neighborhood in a family proud of its African American and Native American ancestry. Right? Berry claimed he had met Janice Noreen Escalante, a 14-year-old Native American, during a show in Texas and hired her to work at his St. Louis club. All right, now, that was just an article that I was reading to show you that they already know Chuck Berry is a Native American. Now, I'm going to go back again to YouTube. Hold on. Where it go to?
You didn't close that tab, did you? So you could have.
Yeah, I did. But
okay,
I got
it. Yeah, you got. They can see it too right now. They still sharing. It's cool.
Okay,
you
now
just find whatever you want because they still watching. You know how to get back to where you see it. You know how to get it when you get it up there.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting good at it. I'm gonna be good at it.
Oh, yeah.
By the time of this class, I'm gonna be learn something while I taught them something. Now listen to the lyrics.
Running to and fro, hard working at the mill, never failed in the mill, yet come a rotten bill. Too much monkey business, too much monkey business, too much monkey business for me to be involved in. Salesman talking to me, trying to run me up a creek, say you can buy it, go and try it, you can pay me next week. Too much monkey business, too much monkey business, too much monkey business for me to be involved in. Blind hair, good looking, trying to get me.
Okay. So he rapping, right? But the hip hop don't come out for another fucking 25 years. Hip hop don't officially come out for another 25 years. Right? Now, I could do this with several other rappers. I mean, artists from the 50s that was rapping back then because that's the tribal custom, right? So, how do I go to oh, I remember. Okay. So, I'm going to go over here.
Yeah, that's all you got to do is go there.
Okay, what I'm going right now, just so y'all know what I'm doing. I'm trying to show a connection with the music. Okay, now the rapper Twista from Chicago, right? Known for his rapid pace rhyme style, is they call him a Absoluki. Twister being Native American, right? That's his tribe, right? So who else? Who else? Let me show y'all this before I go. I'm gonna show y'all what I'm looking at. Um, okay, this is the screen I was looking at right here. Yeah, Superman is a Native American rapper who grew up in Crow Agency, Montana. That's a different guy. But Twister, it's a Twister being a Native American, but he from Chicago. And who else? Who else I know Native? Um, no, that's not correct. Okay, okay, it's the one. Um, I think Busy Bone.
All of the speed rappers.
Yep, that's all Native American culture. That's all Native American culture. So let me go over here so I can share this with y'all while I'm looking at it. Um, so right here, Busy Bone, he from Ohio, right? He know about his Native American culture. As a matter of fact, he got a video talking about it. Now remember, this is that rapid, what they call staccato flow. Right now, this is in the same Midwest region as Twister. Right now, if we go back, there's also an artist on the West Coast. Let me see if I can. Okay. And let me share this with y'all. Okay. This E40, right? E40 be doing tribal business when he be doing his shows. He go behind the scenes and try to get the local chiefs wherever he be doing his thing at to come together with the rest of the local chiefs, because he telling them in the background the chiefs got to get together, right? So listen to how he's taught. He even makes his own. That's common to the culture of the people that we are, right? So now I gotta go back to the documents now. How I get to them?
The document.
Yeah.
You can.
Wait a minute, I just seen it. That's it.
You want the ones that you hadn't already had up. You want.
I
You want
want
to get back to the folder?
Yeah.
Just go
Yeah.
back to the folder right there. Yep. Go up and just click it twice. Double click whichever one you want.
Okay.
Double.
I'm still on this one.
Yep. Oh, you already had that one up.
Right, I'm still on that one. I was just
Okay.
trying to get back to it.
Oh, just click out. You got to go back down the screen share there. Go right here. Go up. No. Go right there. Push stop screen share. Now go back and just go to it. Go back. Percent. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Go back. When you want to change documents.
I remember it now.
Okay.
This should be it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. You put hide. Just put hide on that bar on the bottom so it'll get out your way. Okay.
Okay.
Then you go back.
Then go
yeah.
back to the.
Yeah.
All right, now, how else did they have the U.S. government treatment of Native American tribes was often cruel and unjust? How is the Negro treated in America? The so-called black man. How they treat them, right? Do they treat them worse than they treat somebody on the reservation? They run around shooting them down on a regular basis, don't they? Right? Okay, now, the methods used to deal with belligerent tribes were often violent and destructive, and they resulted in the loss of land, culture, and lives. Here are some specific examples of how the U.S. dealt with belligerent tribes. The U.S. government fought a series of wars against the Cherokee, the Creek, the Seminoles, which was the Gullah Wars. The Spaniards call them the Seminole Wars, but the tribes call them the Gullah Wars, and other tribes in the Southeast during the 1820s and 1830s. These wars resulted in the forced removal of these tribes to Indian Territory, now called Oklahoma, right? Now, let me go back over here so I can move this way.
Here you got to stop sharing. Just go to the bottom and stop sharing on your screen. On your screen.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get back to. I'm letting them have a chance to look at that while I go to the next page.
Okay. All you got to do is go open the next page. Go back to the file. Go to the file.
This one right here. Or over here.
Over there. Yeah. And go to the next one will be right there. Double click it. Okay. Now open it up to the full screen. Up to the box. Yeah. And now go to your arrow.
These.
Yeah. Now take it away. Now push escape. Okay, you know how to get to it, but just go back up there. Yeah. Escape. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Now you go back over here. Escape. Yeah. Nah.
You good.
Go back to right there.
You good.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Or is that the old?
I gotta stop screen share first. I didn't do that part.
Okay. Go back to present.
Yeah. Now they've seen. See, they were still reading over that.
Oh, okay.
While I'm going to get to the next page. Right. So then I go in here, come here, share screen on the next page. Yeah.
Okay.
This is supposed to be for me to click them in order. This bar.
Yeah, you got to have them all open. Because you can hide that bar that's in front of that too.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get ready to just read it, you can go back to your screen on the other. Yeah. And then when you get ready to go full screen with it.
Okay, so now the U.S. government broke the Treaty of Fort Laramie in 1868, which had guaranteed the Lakota Sioux control of the Black Hills. This led to the Great Sioux War of 1876 to 1877, in which the U.S. Army defeated the Lakota and their allies, right? The U.S. government, okay, now that was 100 years before I was born, and it ended up resulting in the war from 1876 to 1877. Then it said the U.S. government relocated the Navajo and the Apache tribes to reservations in Arizona and New Mexico in the late 19th century. Now, I don't know how many of us did the research, but the poorest tribes was the ones who was the biggest problem for the settlers. And if you look at the poorest tribes on reservations, they're going to take you straight to Arizona, the most impoverished tribes in the world. Did you know that?
Yeah, they said it was out in Arizona.
Yeah. So all they do, every time they have a protest, they get all of the people in the village drunk and then make them sign counterproductive contracts under alcohol. That shit still work on them people.
Same soup, warmed up.
All right. It say these reservations were often located in harsh and inhospitable conditions, and the Navajo and Apache people suffered greatly as a result, right? Then it goes on to say the U.S. government forced Native American children to attend boarding schools where they were forbidden to speak their own language or practice their own culture. This policy was intended to assimilate Native Americans into white American culture, but it often led to cultural trauma and identity loss, right? Now, everybody know that the so-called African American have been robbed of our names, robbed of our cultures, right? Robbed of our ancient practices. But who did it, right? Now, we still being miseducated, and we still falling for miseducated judgment calls. It said the U.S. government's treatment of Native American tribes has had a lasting legacy. That means that the legacy that is just lasting is their terror. Their reign of terror is a lasting legacy on the minds of the people. We suffering from a condition of learned helplessness. We don't want to go against the system because it looked like it belonged there. Native Americans continue to face poverty, discrimination, and other challenges as a result of their history, but they keep our history a secret. You see, they're punishing us because ignorance is no excuse to the law. And if we don't know our history, we can't use our culture to overthrow the system that's wrongly on our homeland that we organic to. We sprang up out this motherfucker like trees in the forest. However, there is a growing movement to recognize and address the injustices that Native Americans have faced and to promote reconciliation and healing. So it ain't like they don't know that they bogus. It ain't like we don't know that they bogus. We just don't know whose job it is to do something about it. That's the real problem.
Cause ain't nobody doing it.
Right. It looked like ain't nobody doing nothing. But the real people whose job it is to do something about it is the ones who identify the problem with a solution.
Yeah.
If you identify the problem, you vex it to the public domain as a grievance. If somebody on the land discovered a solution to the grievance you vexed, they supposed to reach back to you and answer the grievance. If a whole lot of people got the same grievance, let's say all Christians, let's say all the Christians' grievances, they mad because the Romans got with the Jews and killed the so-called character Jesus. So now somebody got to come along and say that's a whole lot of people with that grievance. Let's find out what really happened. How do we answer this grievance? So once the grievance find a solution, the person that find the solution put it in the public domain so that the person that originally issued the grievance and all people similarly situated now have access, right, to the solution to the grievance, right? So I got a total of 10 people, 10 areas of people activity. 9 come from Dr. Midley Fuller: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war, right? So now all this is coming from Dr. Neely Fuller's identification of how we are being subjugated. He's seen 9 areas of control, and I discovered that one needs its own category that would be a subcategory of either education, war, but that's health. See, they attack your health by poisoning the water around you, right? By poisoning the food you eat, by poisoning the food that you try to grow, by giving you fertilizer with impurities in it, using your culture to either poison you by replacing your bison with red beef. Bovine beef that's commonly used today is steer. That's not suitable meat for the consumption of the human due to its saturated fat properties, right? So they kill off the bison so they can stop us from being able to remember in the old age by clogging our brains up with bovine beef when we should be eating bison, elk, deer, but not beef. Beef is a man-made product. It's it's like a mule, so to speak. It's just one that can reproduce. It was selectively bred. All of these domestic cow breeds was domestically bred to be um, livestock. We let nature tend the livestock, and we called the herd because Mother Nature had a way for us to know when the animal needed to be culled. Now, what we do? We just go hunting for the heck of it. We looking for a trophy. Throw the whole animal away just to get his antlers. Right? We didn't do that. We didn't hunt for sport. We hunted for sustenance. Right? We taught our children to hunt, and that's where the sport hunting part of it come in at. It's the training ground. So that when the systems like this fall, we know how to live off the fat of the land. We know how to hunt. Right? It's go on to say in early American law, belligerent tribes was classified as domestic dependent nations. Now you got to remember, the nation is a corporation under the federal jurisdiction of Uniform Commercial Code. They classified us as the domestic dependent. That's livestock. We've been classified as livestock under strawman status of nations. This meant that they were not fully sovereign, 3/5 compromised, but were under the protection of the United States government. Protection means your parents need to take care of your kids. We don't need their protection. We need to protect our children, right? Which we about to get into in 1 minute. The concept of domestic dependent nations was first articulated by Chief Justice John Marshall in the 1823 case of Johnson versus McIntosh. In this case, Marshall held that Native American tribes had a right to the land they occupied, but that this right could be extinguished by the United States government. That means that they knew they was the enemy. They know they're the enemy, right? So if the United States government can extinguish your right, that means you're not sovereign. They took your sovereignty away. They just showed you where they did it, right? Oh, that's what I was.
And then you go back. You gotta go out, go down there, and close out, and go back in. You gotta do it all over.
Yeah, I got it. I think I got it now.
Oh yeah. You in that like swim. Didn't some babies? Ain't a lot of the people supposed to have been missing in Maui babies? Wasn't it like kids over there too? Is that true?
Yeah. All our kids, they got burned up.
Yeah.
And they got cooked,
Yeah.
barbecued.
They said it was mostly children.
Well, you got to keep in mind, if an average adult, if it's 2 children to an adult, it's going to always be more children
Yeah.
in those conditions than adults, right? because most people have more than 2 kids. You know, three,
Yeah.
4,
Yeah.
right? So you know, a lot of children are gonna suffer when the parents suffer. It said a classification of belligerent tribes as domestic dependent nations or livestock had a number of implications. First, it meant that the United States government had a responsibility to protect the Native American tribes from outside threats. Second, it meant that the United States government had the right to regulate Native American affairs, including their internal government and economy. If you give up the right for internal government, if you give up the right to govern your own affairs to somebody else, you are choosing a slave master. That's what you're doing. Now, it made the United States had the right to regulate Native American affairs, including their internal government and economy. What was it? The first thing that Dr. Neely Fuller said was economics. The next thing he said was education, right? The classification of belligerent tribes as domestic dependent nations has been criticized by some as being a form of colonialism. It's not a form, it is colonialism. However, it is important to note that this classification was based on the understanding of Native American tribes at the time. In the early 19th century, Native American tribes were seen as being uncivilized and incapable of self-government, right? So the classification of belligerent tribes as domestic dependent nations was seen as a way to protect them from exploitation while they exploiting us, and to help them assimilate into American society as if we want to. As if we fucking want to. Right? The classification of belligerent tribes as domestic dependent nations has since been largely abandoned. You know why? The Indigenous Rights Act. We already know what was going on and we're making the adjustments in real time. The collective tribes of the Americas and the global tribes of the planet around the world got together at the Bandung Conference to come up with a solution to battle white supremacy, and the only solution was the unity of the organic tribes of the earth to fight against this outside threat that apparently don't belong here. And the reason we don't think they belong here is because everywhere they go, they scorch the earth. They leave it barren, unable to sustain life. We didn't believe in leaving the earth unable to sustain life, and it goes against the law of the tribes. So whoever's behind it can't be from the tribes, because if they was from the tribes, they would be protecting
Preserving
the earth from the toxins, protecting the earth from radioactive waste, from the chemical byproducts of strip mining, right? From the scorched earth philosophy of leveling the land to keep the indigenous people from using the forest as cover in case they decide to attack us again, which brought a whole community of lumberjacks as a lifestyle to life, which was part of our native maintenance crews that maintenance the forest for getting rid of the trees that was causing problems to the rest of the trees going. They turned that into a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job of tree cutting. We didn't believe in that.
They doing it in Arkansas now.
Yeah.
Purplewood trucks hauling 24/7,
Non-stop.
cutting all the trees down.
Yeah. Now we got to plant them back. But we want the walnut trees, the pecan trees,
Yeah.
the apple trees, the cherry trees, the plum trees, the peach trees, the pomegranate trees. We want all of the trees that bear the fruits that can be consumed as foodstuffs. And them the main ones they cut down first and replaced them all with apple trees. That's Johnny Appleseed. The story of Johnny Appleseed is after they destroyed the forests to hold the land together until the farmers can use it, they held the land together by the rapid growth of the apple tree. Turned to half the land into apple orchards. Apples ain't native over here.
I didn't know that.
Apples ain't native to the Americas. I'm gonna show you in a minute. I'm gonna pull it up in a minute because just because I said it, I'm gonna go show y'all. Native the whole story of Johnny Appleseed was to create a whole new booming business of apple production, and apple pie became the American pie, the all-American pie. Once the trees were successful, they successfully acclimated to the various parts of the land, giving us various strains of apples, right? And a lot of people don't know that.
They forced milk on us like that too, telling us it was good for our bones.
Yeah, milk. The consumption of milk is
Toxic.
well, it's supposed to use the products for cooking purposes.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to drink milk as an adult. So the whole purpose of giving us that milk and not giving us the products, you ain't supposed to, like, we eat more of items that was once we used to eat them for special occasions. We now eat it as a normal routine part of the diet when it was basically a delicacy back then. Like macaroni and cheese was a delicacy, but we made ours when we didn't have macaroni back then, right? So we made ours out of corn flour rolls. You roll them up, and now they call them macaroni shells, but they wasn't made out of pasta. They was made out of bread dough.
Okay.
Right?
Like a dumpling.
Yeah, more like a dumpling, right? And they would fry them to give them firmness, and then they would cook the cheese in them. And it was a delicacy. They used to have contests for the best mac and cheese, and now it's macaroni and cheese. Mm-hmm. So it's a Native American tribes that gained a great degree of self-government and are no longer seen as being under the complete control of the United States government. However, the concept of domestic dependent nations still had some relevance to today. It's still used by some legal scholars to argue that Native American tribes have certain inherent rights that cannot be extinguished by the United States government. Settlers determined if a tribe was civilized or uncivilized based on a number of factors. Now, when they classified us and reclassified us, they treated the what's called civilized tribes entirely different than they did to the non-civilized, what they call belligerent tribes or outlaw tribes. The outlaw tribes is the ones who's forced to live under the law that's belligerent to them. They automatically is against the law, right? But when we have our they call it gang literature, we call it tribe literature, right? We don't know that the gang is a tribe and that all of these tribes had been infiltrated by a government under COINTELPRO and turned us against each other as a means of keeping us from ever realizing who we were. That's what made Larry tell me we was brain banging, not gang banging. So when they start to establish who was civilized and not, the first of the litmus test was their level of technology. Now you got to remember, this is a non-technical era where they're using our technology as a standard to determine if we're a civilized or uncivilized tribe. Settlers often viewed tribes with less advanced technology as being uncivilized. For example, tribes that did not use metal tools or firearms were often seen as being less civilized than the tribes that did. Now, let that sink in, and people. Let that sink in for a minute while I go over here and pull up this other, the next page.
Now go back to the folder if you got another page. Did you bring it over?
Mm-hmm. I think this is.
I don't think you brought it over.
I think this already did this one. Go back.
Go to the folder, yeah. Did you bring it over? You own it. That's the one you wanted? Yeah.
Okay. That's the one. Right.
That's the one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure they can see it. No.
I haven't got to this part yet. Okay. Now go here. There we go. Okay. It said their way of life. So, in determining if they civilized, they took into consideration their way of life. Settlers often viewed tribes that lived in settled communities and farmed the land as being more civilized than tribes that lived a nomadic lifestyle. And this is where we got to stop at, because what a lot of people don't know is when they saying we was nomadic tribes, we weren't nomadic tribes. We were in transition across the land from west to east, going into the fight the Gullah Wars. Right? We got the call. We all came. We came from the Samoan Islands, the Tongan Islands,
Yeah.
the Hawaiian Islands,
Yeah.
the Cuban Island, the Puerto Rican Island. Why do you think they all here?
Yeah.
Dominican Republic, Haiti, Hispaniola.
Yeah.
They come from everywhere. We come from everywhere. We weren't nomads.
Yeah.
We got castles all over the land.
Yeah.
They turned the castles into prisons, state buildings, and mental institutions.
Yeah.
And they told us that they just built these ancient structures on our land that's been here for some of them for 1,800, 2,000 years. Right?
Yeah.
Some of them was built in the 800s and the 700s. But all of this was long before Columbus came. So it's their religious beliefs. Now, for the outsider to tell us about religious beliefs, he have to first give us a religion. Right? Because spiritual people can't be trapped into a religious doctrine without protesting. Unless there's some nefarious forces at play, like a blood right. If it's a blood right involved, we're going to do whatever we can to redeem the blood of the righteous. That's the nature of us as a people. We know that Emmett Till was innocent, but his blood was spilled. We know Medgar Evers was innocent, and he was right, and his blood was spilled. We know that the girls from the bombing, all 4 or 5 of them, we know they was innocent. We got to redeem the blood, but how do you do that? You have to conquer the enemy. And the only way to conquer them is to come together collectively as tribes, put our differences aside, and agree to redeem the land. So while the men out here fighting in the streets, the women is having a bridge party upstairs bringing the community back together, willing and dealing, right? It said the settlers often viewed tribes with different religious beliefs as being uncivilized. For example, tribes that practiced polytheism were often seen as being less civilized than tribes that practiced Christianity. Ain't that something? Now, at the time they classifying these people by religious beliefs, Christianity's not here, nor is Judaism, nor is Islam as we know it. The Islam that we know of, most people don't know, is the Islam of the Mamawatas, the Sibyls. The Islam of the goddess Alat, with the ritual rites of the women kept alive by the practice of the Sufi priesthood. The Sufi priesthood performs the rituals to keep them in usage until the women is prepared to receive the rights back. And when the women do the rituals, they begin to activate the healing of the earth. That's simple. Every Sufi master has a daughter that he teaches secret ritual dances to. These are mitochondrial stimulating dances. Like whirling dervishes is one dance that's part of the mitochondrial elevating energy. It say the treatment of women, settlers, okay, yeah. The treatment of women, settlers. Now remember, this ain't how we viewed us. This is how the settlers viewed us when they didn't know what none of our shit meant. How could they know if they didn't never practice it? We knew everything we did was in harmony with the earth, protected the children and the women, and made the men stand up like soldiers. Everything we did. That's the natural order of things. Right? That's a knock to a knockback off of zigzag zig, straight up off of Blue House father line to keep a man on the straight bump so that on the 360 degrees, no matter which way he turned, he can elevate his nation and his clan by being a good man. Watch out now. Jimmy the Cricket. What's going on with you, Jimmy the Cricket? What you say? Look, all Dominicans are not bad, but the bad ones is the worst of the worst. The good Dominicans is going to be responsible for cleaning up their own house. All of the people in Dominica and in Haiti know who the dirty players is on their land. And if you don't believe me, all you got to do is keep watching while they're getting rid of them in real time, while they're making alliances across groups and clubs in order to overcome the threat. All right. So they also use the willingness to trade with settlers as a litmus test for the level of civilized you was. Considering retrospect, the most civilized tribe is probably the one who refused most diligently to do business with the invader. From our perspective, anyway. But from their perspective, settlers often viewed tribes that were willing to trade with them as being more civilized than tribes that were not. These factors was often subjective and based on the settlers' own cultural biases. As a result, many tribes that were considered uncivilized by settlers were actually quite sophisticated and complex societies. Ain't that something? But they calling us uncivilized, but we had quite sophisticated and complex societies. How is this possible if we savage? So the big test to determine if we savage is, do we believe in that Jesus or not? These factors were often subjective and based on the settlers' own cultural biases. Here are some specific examples of how settlers determined if a tribe was civilized or uncivilized. Now, watch this. Straight out the gate. Spanish conquistador who arrived in the Americas in the 16th century viewed the native people as being uncivilized because they did not have the same technology or religious beliefs as the Spaniards. They did not have the same technology or religious beliefs as the Spanish. Mm-hmm. Conquistadors, the Tudor conquerors of the 16th century. That's the 1700s, people. The American settlers who arrived in the 18th and 19th century, 17 and 1800s, viewed the Native American people as being uncivilized because they did not live in settled communities or farm the land. So, because of how we performed as tribes, all tribes was not required to farm land. All tribes were not required to go fishing. We divided the workload up among the clans according to the specialty training of the clan. What you see is horse whisperers today was the responsibility of one of the tribes was the Apache horse riding tribe. They bikers now, right? Um, they give everything in the clues to tell you who they was. They got their charter um, Big Mama. MC13, Mother Charter from the Queen Mother herself. That's why they can traverse the land, and the police is not supposed to bother them, but they're outlaw clan because the police don't recognize Big Mama, right? The American settlers who arrived in the 18th and 19th centuries viewed native peoples as being uncivilized because they did not live in settled communities and farmland. Insane, right? So they holding us to their own standard of who we should be, right? They telling us that we supposed to be who they tell us they want us to be, whether we want to be or not. The difference is we not falling for the banana in the tailpipe no more. No, already played out. Hold on 1 minute. I gotta go to the next page. I gotta find it in the folder. The play. Okay. There we go. Religion tribes. Let's just go into. Okay. That's the right one. And let's put this on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Here you go. This ask.
All right. So it said the United States government in the late 19th century forced many Native American tribes on the reservations where they were expected to adopt European American ways of life. Tribes that resisted the assimilation were often labeled as being uncivilized. So now we're seeing the method of them determining how civilized we are. The concept of civilized and uncivilized tribes is a harmful one that has been used. Now, this AI telling me this to justify the exploitation and oppression of Native American peoples. It is important to remember that all cultures are different and should be respected. Now, this AI talking. According to the 1910 United States Census, okay, now we're going into the reclassification aspect of the belligerent tribes. There were 248,253 Native American and Alaskans in the United States. However, this number did not include all Native Americans, as many tribes were not recognized by the federal government. Let that percolate for a minute and sink in. Many tribes were not recognized by the federal government. Okay, so now they was already here. Government don't recognize them. They came. They declared them belligerent tribes, uncivilized, ward of the states. That's retarded. They are imbeciles, and they are 3/5 compromised, right? Dred Scott ruling. So these 3/5 compromised slaves, taxation without representation, have never been represented in the circle of the taxes because they were the property that was being taxed. In the early 20th century, the United States government began to reclassify many tribes as Negro or colored. Now remember, this AI answering my question. This was done for a number of reasons, including to assimilate Native Americans into white American society. Why would they need to reclassify you for that? Right? Why would they need to reclassify you that? Next reason is to justify the denial of Native American rights. Remember, according to the Dred Scott case, that no black man, meaning no enemy on this game chessboard, have any rights that a white man, the attacker on this chessboard, is bound to respect. The conqueror is never going to acknowledge the conquered until the conquered decide to conquer his conqueror. And this is how you unravel the mystery and dig the truth out of the lies told in history. To justify the exploitation of Native American land and resources, the reclassification of Native Americans as Negro or colored was a harmful and discriminatory practice. It denied Native Americans their unique identity and culture and then made them vulnerable to discrimination and exploitation. Right? The reclassification of Native Americans as Negro or colored was also based on the false and racist understanding of race. Because there is no race, that's the only race is the conjure war. The race to the realization of who you are, where you from, and if in fact you was already here. It said the reclassification of Native Americans as Negro and colored was also based on a false and racist understanding of race. Native Americans are not Negroes or colored people. They are distinct people with their own unique history and culture and identity. Ain't this something? You mean to tell me that we was part of that 90+% of free black folks, and we ain't had nothing to do with the motherfuckers in slavery? This is some good shit. Yeah, it is. Okay, so the next one, well, the next one says, um, bring this up for y'all. Hold on. Okay. The reclassification of Native American and Negro or colored is a reminder of the long history of racism and discrimination faced by Native Americans in the United States. It is important to remember this history and to work to overcome the legacy of racism and discrimination that Native Americans continue to face. Right? But ain't nobody been more discriminated against than us. And they telling us who we is by not addressing the issue of who we are. Right? Here are some references that you can check out. The Racialization of Native Americans in the United States by Gene M. O'Brien. That's a 2010 book. American Indian Identity and the Census, the Case of the Blackfoot Confederacy. That's by Russell Thornton, the 1987 book. The Reclassification of American Indians and Alaska Natives in the 1910 Census by Theda Purdue. Right? So remember, everything they doing is a systematic and organized effort to oppress us as a people, right? So when they reclassifying us, we had to remember that they don't even have the right to classify us to begin with. The classification in and of itself is exonymic, meaning that somebody outside of who we are is the ones who telling us who we supposed to be. You not me. So how the hell you gonna tell me who I'm supposed to be? You ain't me. So I'm supposed to accept an outsider's descriptive analysis of who I am, my position on the land, and my function to my community and to my family. Now, if I'm sovereign, those are things that I'm supposed to choose according to the needs of my family and my community and exercise that to its greatest capacity, right? So if I want to use my intelligence, my savant like memory to the greatest advantages of my people, I will solve the problems of my people that's most detrimental to us as a people. Does that make sense? So when we don't remember our culture, one chief can't tell another chief what to do. That's the culture. All we can do is offer wise counsel and sound advice, and if they pay attention, but most of us are hard-headed, stubborn, and don't want to hear shit a motherfucker got to say. Because those are the natural characteristics for a chief to be able to hold on to his chief seat. You gotta have that shit to hold on to your shit. Now, the good part is this, right? I can come to you and I can offer you a solution that I'm 100% know gonna work because they ain't never failed before. It got a 100% success rate every time. Now, I could show it to you and show you the success rate and show you how to use it. But if you don't believe in what I'm showing you as a chief now, I got a right, if it's going to work, to prove it to you by doing it on your behalf. But I can't do it until you tell me you can't figure it out. You can tell me straight up, or you can tell me by action and deed, or you can tell me indirectly by innuendo. But as soon as I'm clear that you don't know what I'm doing and how I can help you, now I have to show you what I'm doing to help you. And the result is you got to be able to receive all of your benefits that I said you were going to receive. So I'm going to take a couple questions. You want to show me how to put the
Questions up?
I got to put the link in here for them to
come in.
Yeah.
You gotta send it out to the YouTube. Can't they come? Let me see.
Ain't this on the YouTube?
Right here, edit layout. No, let me see. This is when you want the people. Okay. Invite right here. That's where you go invite. There go the link right there. You can
Okay,
put
so
it.
you hit copy.
Copy, yeah.
Then you paste it in there, right?
Yep. That's the link for them to come in right there. And when you want to put their show their comments like that, just click on their comment, whatever comment you want to just click on it. The one you want to bring up, like if you want to bring this coming up,
click that one because that's a good comment.
Yeah, there you go.
It said that's their prescriptive ethics bullshit they be preaching. How people should behave and what their society perceives as right or wrong.
And the link is on there for them to come in.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna look for some questions in the comments. So I put the link in the comment section for those who want to. Somebody want to come in and ask questions. I'll take you in. Let me. So Quantum Vortex said, I didn't even know you had this channel. This is not my channel. I'm having my my homeboy Rod up here teaching me how to use this system. And I had to do a show and I needed to learn how to use the system so I can do a different style when I come back to teaching for the rest of my social media duration. So I'm not sure who Q Reeves is. I'm not familiar with his channel, but if you are friends with me on Instagram, send me one of his videos. I'll check him out. I'll come on anybody platform if they want to learn and they want me to go over what I'm looking at, what I see. I'm not going on nobody platform for them to try to convince me that I wasn't already here before the motherfuckers came. If somebody want to do that, I'm not. That's what I'm not interested in. Other than that, if they want to know why I'm not African American, I'll discuss that. If they want to know why I don't mind being called black, but I'm not black, I can address that. That's my black gorilla connection. That's my link to the belligerent clans who was playing defense against the so-called white man in the white man's world, in the white man's game. The white is the attacker on the chessboard. Has nothing to do with the pale face skin complexion, and they've been taking all of the weight for the black hand, the secret Negroes behind the scene.
You can paste it whenever you get ready to put it back up there. Just click on there and paste. paste it, left click on it in the comments and paste it again if they want to invite them in. Just go
Where do I find
right
if
here.
they trying to come in?
Right, it'll pop up. Hold on. Click
Where
right,
it pop up at?
right here. Hold on. Paste. That's the link. Once they can click the link, it'll show there's some people in the room, and then you can either let them in. They'll come up right here. If they come try to send an invite to come in, it'll come up right there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So if somebody want to come in and ask questions, come on in. I don't got no problem with it. StreamYard is in the comment section. You click in, ask your questions, have a little brief conversation. I'm probably gonna take a few questions. So you're absolutely correct. They actually repurposed the castles. We had too many castles on the land to just destroy them all. So what they did is they repurposed the castles as mental institutions, as state hospitals, as state buildings, government buildings, and prisons. We didn't have no prisons over here. So why are these buildings there's prisons from the 1300s? Architectural style. They wasn't building that style anymore. That style was obsolete. So they didn't build that prison in 1900 like they told you. It was already there. They just took all. That's because we all went to fight in the Gullah Wars. All clans on deck. The Spaniards was the primary obstacle. We also fought the French, the Dutch, the Portuguese, the English, the Spanish. All of them was working together to come and conquer us. Okay, so I ain't getting no.
Bring you on. Okay, you back up. Okay, and there you go. You back where you need to be.
Okay, so everything good now?
Yeah, somebody it'll tell you if somebody come up. They'll pop up down there.
Yeah, didn't nobody pop up. So anybody got no questions?
Okay.
This is a good question because local government is the only government that we actually can control for sure. As long as the people are
somebody.
Yeah, somebody just came in. As long as the people um, in the local town organize together, then y'all can retake y'all city. It's a FEMA relief call tree um, that you can get on. Peace, God.
Peace, God.
What's going on? Can you? I can hear you real loud and clear.
You can turn it. I turn it down a little bit.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna turn the volume down a little bit so I don't get no feedback.
Yeah, you can see it. Tell them to say something.
Go ahead.
Who's speaking, me or him?
You go ahead. I'm listening.
Question, Rod. I'm glad that I'm on here, brother. I appreciate you. I had two questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first question is concerning public domain. Public domain, I believe it was used to grab land, right?
No, that was called eminent domain.
So eminent domain was used to grab land. When does that expire?
Eminent domain is when the government come in and acquiesce a piece of land for the purposes of the government, right? So that's actually a good question. But under once this government finished falling, when enough of us is aware that this shit is over with, when the new system come online, all of the land revert back to its original owners before they contracts, because all of their contracts is now expired. Which means us as the families, that's the organic tribes, we being reorganized in order to resettle the land all over again. It's a reset for a reason.
Okay. Okay. And the reset is back to the original owners of the land.
Yeah, it got to go back to the original. That's why I say, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. It's talking about the ancient ones returning. Empress Verdiasi wrote about it. And all it is those old ancestors came back in the modern day from eons gone by to restore the land back to balance and to teach the people how to maintain the balance all over again. Because the Conjure War was fought and won, we can reset back to a golden age.
Okay. 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 My next question, and I'm not going to leave you alone on this and let you ride out. I appreciate you too having your own live and allowing us to come in and talk. And I definitely appreciate you with Young Elder. My next question is I've been doing my research on my family and I found the Freedman's bank account. What does that have to do with what's going on, at the moment?
Spell the name of the bank account.
Freedman's with the D.
Okay.
FREEDMANS. MANS.
And how did you find it? What was it linked to?
Well, what I did was I went on familysearch.org and I've been just looking at family documents such as military registration records, the draft cards, death certificates, any documentation that came with the family or was with my family attached to their names in familysearch.org. And I actually found where my great grandfather was a treasury over an account at the Freedman's Bank. And I have the number and all, but it's like, where do I go from there? I know where his land is. Me and my family have we have located the land that is with his name. But I'm basically stuck at a dead end right now. What do I do with that?
When the new system come online, they're going to be doing a program at the Small Business Administration to help you identify and locate the family wealth as part of teaching you family banking.
Okay, I already got my sister on the family banking deal. We're starting that. It's 6 of us, so we're putting it together. But go ahead.
When you go into when the new system come online, when we repurpose the Small Business Administration, they're going to be holding certification classes in accounting and family banking specifically for us to be competent to handle our own wealth and our own affairs. When you part of that is your what you call family forensic branch. This is specialty to the family member that got an eye for detail. The family got to pick the one they send to do forensic investigation by looking at the documents. Because some documents the enemy put forward signatures on, and some of them they just put an X there.
Yes,
and
yes.
then they claim that somebody signed it.
Yes.
When they used to put the X there, they put the X there to show you where to sign. If there's a signature behind the X, it's telling you who was stealing the land from your people.
Okay. And I ran into that with each account. I found a family member, but I also found a similar name to that family member in that town.
Yeah. So when the Dirty Moors move in and they know the prominent chief of the village, they'll come in and use a name that sounds the same but spelt slightly different,
Yes,
or they'll
yes,
use a
yes.
name that mean the same. So they're using synonyms and homonyms in
I
order
seen that.
to usurp the one who is the actual chief of the local area. So
Okay,
when they children get a hold of it, your ancestor and their ancestor look like the same person on paper, but they not.
okay,
One of
okay.
them a usurper.
And I've seen that where I get to a point where I'm following. I guess I would say European. I've traced my family back to Scotland, but I know there in North Carolina there was a switch.
Okay, the Scots and the Irish have a contract through the daughters of Isis, known as Scotta and Scotia.
Uh-huh.
Both
Switzerland.
right now, the Orisha, known as Montbrige, that's Scotta. Her sister Scotia, she looks different. She look melanated. She is melanated, but Montbrige is pale face, milky color, with red hair.
Okay.
This is why they call Ireland the redhead stepchild of Europe. They talking about the people they call the ginger, who was
Okay.
given the okay. So when they was fleeing the persecution that brought about the potato famine, they got a charter from our big mama to settle in the Appalachians. As long as they was not belligerent to the local tribe, they can set up their own tribal community. Today we call them rednecks.
Ah, hillbillies and such.
Yes.
Okay. Like the what's the family name the with the show? Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah. So
Okay.
in that show, if you see old Jed was shooting at a rabbit and up came an oil spout. That's how they got rich.
Was that on the western side of the Appalachian or the eastern side?
No, they don't say. But in the Beverly Hillbillies, when it's coming on, it's giving you showing you how they got rich.
Okay. Yes, yes, I remember that. He
And
shot the rabbit hole and the oil came up and
right, and they describing it in the song, right?
okay.
Mere old Uncle Jed, poor mountaineer, rarely had his family fed. Then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground came a bubbling pool. Oil, that is, black gold, Texas tea, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
on the land that Big Mama gave him, somebody discovered oil. They can't take the land from him, so they have to get the rights to trade in the oil, and they have to pay him um, residuals on harvesting the oil on his land. So if you go through Mississippi now, you see a lot of people that just got pumps in the middle of nowhere, just steady pumping. They
Yes.
all feeding into a central mainland, the oil reserve or the gas reserve from the land. And then they get paid from the government stockpiling it because they're not supposed to trade the reserve and they only supposed to use it in times of war. But guess what? We've been at war nonstop for 500 years, but we didn't remember it.
I got you. I got you. I got you. I guess because we started to become civilized,
We
we
always
lost the
civilized. We civilizers. Look,
or excuse me, we became a part of the civilization of the usurper. We left the idea of war alone with them.
no, we didn't. We went into a conjure war.
Okay.
War
So it's no
involved,
longer physical.
right? So the war went from being a bloody war that saturated the Florida Everglades all the way into the Louisiana territory in the Louisiana Bayou with blood.
Yes.
Due
Yes.
to the massive bloodletting to cause a ceasefire, we had to come up with an alternative means. This is how you get the black versus the white on the chessboard. It's the stealth priests of the totem tribe, the black wolf, the black panther, the black gorilla, the
Okay.
black eagle, the black hawk, the black foot. All these clans are what we know as stealth priests. They represent a different tribe, but they all war priests. These
Okay.
war priests, to stop the bloodletting of mass casualties of human life, challenges each other to a conjure war, a voodoo war, a hoodoo war, high magic, ceremonial magic, magician versus magician, sage versus sorcerer, however you want to look at it. A magic war made in magic warfare. But at the end of the day, somebody had to bring it to the end. Somebody had to say, look, the war over with, this who won. Somebody got to be declared the victor, right? So we already won. I've been telling motherfuckers this for 5 years now. As soon as I realized that all I had to do was exercise the blood and the right within 72 hours after the contract closed, I'm not hesitating. I'm pulling the trigger. I got an itchy fucking trigger finger, and I ain't got no problem with blasting the motherfucker in their ass. So when it's time to pull the trigger on the enemy, I will pull that motherfucker so quick. I'm not waiting on no 72 hours. I'm going to give it to you in 48. So on July the 6th, 2019, I called that motherfucker card in by blood and by right. And it's documented, time-stamped in the public domain by the means of social media.
Okay. Now, a question pertaining to that, because it's key that you said that. If we were to write letters to all of these entities and put them on public notice,
that means
like,
that you're imbecile.
Say that again.
That means you're an imbecile. Their system is designed that when you begin to explain yourself to them, you become their subject.
But if I tell them I'm not taking part in their...
That by telling them you're not taking part in it is proving to them that you're taking part in it.
Okay.
You have to go back to your own tribal traditions that predated them. The oral tradition is just put it in the public domain. When enough tribes people become aware of it, they choose collectively to abandon all of the contracts that's predicated on the fraud, because none of us want to be held as party to the fraud. And the only way to live in the society that's predicated on the fraud is you can't be aware, because when you're aware, you have to abandon the contract. If you refuse, when you become aware, to abandon the contract, you become a party to the fraud, a willing participant. Therefore, you can be prosecuted the same as the motherfucker who brought the fraud to you.
So basically, we just have to let their shit go, period.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Put their IDs down, put their social security cards down.
People, look, fuck them people. Let's go back to putting our family book back together, because every family, the oldest matriarch, kept the records of the births and the deaths in the family book. And this is how we used to know how to trace each other back to our own big mama and get our own inheritance in every lifetime. We gotta go back to that and disregard them. Let them motherfuckers fall, because they already failed. We just gotta stop holding it up, pretending it's business as usual when it's not. This shit is all the way over. The only thing
yes, I agree. Definitely on that.
Dead contract. They keep trying to send their babies to school. That's the worst thing they can do. I'm getting all of the signs that they finna do something bad to the babies in one of these schools.
And I work in education, right? Mm-hmm. And I see the decline in the funds. I see the decline in the education, in the effort from the teachers, and I'm here in a black town too, a black city rather, a black metropolis, or Indian metropolis rather. Let me do away with the word black, because I argue about that every
It's
week.
still tribal. That's still tribal. Look, the black ones was the ones fighting against the white ones on the chessboard. It had nothing to do with skin color. Skin color became the illusion by which they deceived us as to who was who on the chessboard.
I got you. I got you. When in actually those rednecks, we had a relationship, a working relationship with them.
Yeah. So they were rescued by a group of Templars that we know them today as being Vikings. When they
Yep.
came, they joined with some of what we call the nomadic tribes, the ones who patrolled the land. Today, they ride a steel horse and they
Harleys,
carry the big
Hell's
Mike
Angels.
Carter, and they are called Hell's Angels.
Listen, okay, I travel all over the world. I travel into Europe a lot, Eastern Europe mostly, Serbia, Zurich, Switzerland, most of Switzerland. I've seen those statues of in Bern, Switzerland, of the black Moor eating the babies. I've seen those. I can verify those. That's in Bern, Switzerland. The Hells Angels is the largest motorcycle clan in Europe,
In the world.
in the world rather. Is that because they hold the charter to do such?
Yes. Hell's
Okay.
Angels, when the shit hit the fan, they riding with the tribes out the gate. They nothing to talk about. They already made allegiances. That's why they here.
But why is there racism among their race?
That's not racism. They not supposed to let outsiders in. If you're not a Nordic, a Viking, they not supposed to let you in unless you go through certain shit. When
Okay.
the number one rule when Big Mama allow you on the land is you have to worship. You have to live your life in your own envelope, in your own, under your own vine and fig tree. That's how Noble Drew Ali described it. That means that
Yep.
you have
Yep.
to put your family together. You got to have your family council. You have to have a system of elders where the elders can communicate the orders throughout the clan. The Hells Angels did all of that, right? A lot of these, what we call in gangs, gangs is the political term for the enemy to declare a tribe as a hostile.
A misnomer. Yes. Yes, I agree.
It's
I
an
agree.
acronym. That's what today's show about is what
Excellent.
they call us versus what we are. Right? When COINTELPRO came into play, now they can classify the outlaw clans as gangs under the stop the chiefs from waking these motherfuckers up.
I got you. I got you. I got you. I see what you're saying. I see exactly what you're saying. The another question, since we're on the subject of it, we talk about Larry Hoover, we talk about Jeff Ford, Angel Bay. What about Tupac's father?
Mutulu
He's
Shakur
Matulu. Yes. I know he was just recently released.
was a general in the Black Liberation Army. He was part of the ones defending the land. I talked about Matula before, but I don't talk about him as much because I knew he was sick and I didn't want to draw too much attention to him and let him enjoy his family while he had time with him. But they poisoned him. He didn't die from cancer like they telling them. They fed him poison in prison.
But he still walked the land, correct?
He walked the land. So now Setch don't know it, but either her child or her grandchild gonna be Matula come back for every fucking thing they owe him.
Okay. Okay. And if we encounter this with Larry Hoover and our brother McBay, the same instance where they come home and they fall ill, all of a sudden.
If we remember who our chiefs was, it's 3 high chiefs on the land that we didn't know who they were. That's Big Tookie, Larry Hoover, Jeff Ford. Jeff Ford
Okay.
was the lawman. He was supposed to tear these motherfuckers' ass from limb to limb, asshole to appetite. That's why they do. That's why they use all of those fabricated means to get him off the land. Cause if guys like me, when I was that age, would have figured out what was going on back then, or if
Yeah, yeah,
Angel
yeah.
Baker told me himself what he discovered, it would have been over. I would have been on an organizing mission. It took me years to figure this shit out. My feelings was so hurt when I found out that the motherfucker that was behind this dirt looked like us.
Yep, yep, yep. I say that I agree with you on that because I'm not downgrading Caucasians' intelligence, but I can't give them that much credit to say that they overtook me because there's been instances where I overtook them in a blink of an eye, and it was just simple, like taking a candy from a kid. I always seen it as someone within our ranks that was working against us. And now I see it more once I got the shell pulled off my eyelids, I see more of my people, more and more of our, people that look like us doing this dirt to us.
Man, look, go back to Garvey. Niggas did it. Niggas got Garvey excommunicated because he was too effective in our community. Niggas did that shit. Some dirty niggas. It was some dirty niggas that did that shit to Booker T. Washington, to W.E.B. Du Bois. They thought they was fighting each other. This is the crazy part. All the time, it was the people in their ranks pitting them against
That
each
was doing them
other.
dirty.
Yeah, and they were the infiltrators. Noble Drew Ali. There's no way the police could have whooped Noble Drew Ali like they did if the Mufti staff didn't move out the way. And back
I
then, we
got
didn't
you.
have no regard for the police. We had zero regard for the police back then. Zero. If they came over here, I just as soon as punch him in his mouth as I would anybody else. They had a whole campaign in the 70s to try to give them a different opinion to the children of who these motherfuckers was. Officer Goody Two Shoe is your friend. Always obey the police. Fuck the police. They
Yeah,
slave
nah.
catchers, and the tribesmen was always belligerent to them. Right? They ain't supposed to be saying nothing to us. They don't got nothing to do with us. But guess what? When they turned the whole country into a plantation, now they got to monitor the plantation. That's their job. They plantation monitors. Make you conform to the plantation's desires.
Before the Pope rescinded the doctrine of discovery, he also sent to Obama general civil orders. Is that a valid document?
Obama was
a certified copy of it. You want to pull it up?
Obama was a undercover agent of a foreign entity.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
Listen,
We could talk about that on another. Yeah, I know.
I gotta say it.
Go ahead. You got to put it in public notice. You're right.
Right. So Obama was sent in to infiltrate America, masquerade as one of the natives to the land. Right. And he was to institute a takeover. He was made in a laboratory by using the DNA from Akhenaten in the early cloning process in the 1950s. He was part of the first wave of Boys from Brazil program in America under Operation Paperclip. And they told you the story in a series of movies, starting with the demon seed, where the computer impregnated the lady, which is really the laboratory impregnating the lady with a clone baby. When you see all of the designs that the computer is showing the lady, that's called a kaleidoscope, which is showing you the different patterns of DNA being downloaded in her mind, but it's really being uploaded into her uterus.
Ah,
Then she give birth to the baby, and they called it Rosemary's baby. The rebellious lady of the rose. That means she resurrected somebody she wasn't supposed to. And her baby was born the son of a jackal. And the son of the jackal was revealed to us in part 3 of the Omen, the Damien series in the 70s. That's the story of Obama coming up in his sheltered environment, being groomed to be the person that ain't from here that passed himself off as one of the people from here. That's why Trump was complaining about his birth certificate.
about his birth certificate. Yes. And
Then
it
he
actually
turned,
verifying it now.
yep, and then he turned around and said, "It is true. I was not born in the United States. I was born in the Philippines." And I already posted that shit. That's already in um, posted, verified receipts, right? So then from there, Obama was coming in as one of the Bush plot. The Bush plot was the Rex 84 plot. The Rex 84 plot was the subset of the active orders of COINTELPRO. In case of the time that we start waking up, they could round our ass up. So we preempted their instructions by issuing our own orders across the land behind their back in their motherfucking face, just like they did us. Using rap music, using hood movies, using crooked cop movies, all of the shit that they using vampire movies, this Twilight time, telling the story how they came as vampires, blood suckers from Europe, eating babies and drinking baby blood and having sex with little boys as grown ass men. And that shit came out in Twilight as vampires versus werewolves because we used to wear the wolf pelts to war to scare the hell out the enemy.
Okay. Check this out. I got a question that pertains to that wolf pelt. And there's a statue. I've seen it in the Rembrandt years ago in Amsterdam. There's a statue of a wolf feeding a baby.
That's Romulus and Remus. That's the great she-wolf that suckled the two orphans that was found in the wilderness, as we called the first progenitors to the pale-face race. One of them died, never had an heir. That was Remus. Romulus, in turn, named Rome after Remus, his brother, when he began to conquer. This is the story of the Etruscan Moors' rise to power by usurping the divine feminine. The wolf that they're talking about is Helen, who was the mother of Hellenistic society, and it was artistically great and intellectually great, and they wrote great poems of love. But when Rome got it, they turned all of the seduction of the man for the woman in Hellenistic society into seduction of little boys, and they called it romance.
Yes, I learned that 2 years ago. It's not called Rome, it's called the romance.
Romance is the science of the grown-ass man seducing the little boy in Roman society. That's why they want our boys to be effeminized to make their job easier.
Yes.
That's a military strategy to conquer people by feminizing
take the boys
males and masculizing the female.
There's a group of boys, right? And this goes back to the Ottoman Empire. When they went places, they would capture the boys, kill the men, leave the women, but they would take those boys back to the Ottoman Empire. They would call them janissaries. They trained them, made them leaders, of their military, of their great military, and sent them back out. So the story goes with Vlad the Impaler. Him and his brother, similar situation, were raised by the Ottoman. But in turn was, but Bulgaria came back and killed them. But those Ottoman Empire people, they were the Moors, or would that be the Venetians?
Look, the Ottoman Empire was established by the same people that established Rome. We call them Byzantine kings because they ruled the Ottoman Empire as the Byzantines or the Byzantine Empire.
Yeah.
Rising out of Turkish ancestry, they came in as migrants on the desert sands. Remember, they said Moses chased them across the desert sands into a foreign land. This is what they talk about. Right? But it's all Masonic coded to mean something different than what they're telling you.
Yes, so, Masonic mumbo jumbo. Yes.
Right. So the Tawny Moors infiltrated the Ottoman to the east, where the Blackamoors infiltrated the Iberian Peninsula from the western part of the Iberian Peninsula in Italy and Spain.
Yep. Right. They ruled that whole area.
Right. But they
the barbarians.
They ruled it by issuing different parts of the Moorish families, which were all nomadic because none of them had a homeland. How is that possible if you're from the planet? Everywhere they go, they foreigners. How is that fucking possible if you're from the planet?
Because they're the production of the island of Dr. Moreau.
Pretty much.
Like the made people.
Right.
Because no one,
so
Bobby
Hemming call them human artificial. He said they came in with us in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he said the white man, he said that motherfucker wasn't even here. So what do that tell you? They look like us, but they ain't us.
They ain't us. They ain't us. Black hair, white mask.
Yep.
Yep.
So they want to keep you from getting an education, right?
Yep.
So the only people they allow to be educated is the people that don't look like you. Right? And they teaching these people how to govern your affairs as politicians of local government, as government officials and purveyors of certain services of government. This is what they teaching them in their educational system, so that you won't be able to maintain these things unless you go through them to get it done, because they're not allowing you to learn these things, right? So this is how they're systematically blocking you out of the institutions by using the pale faces in the institutions in the replacement of the organic original people, because the original people is who they at war with. And so they have to contract outside labor to come in and hold the reins of oppression by keeping you from the information, the education that allow you to develop and find out who you is and where you came from, and to see your culture playing out continuously in your face when they told you that we was all gone in their books.
That's why it's important for us to look up our heritage and our lineage.
Mm-hmm.
In these instances, at this time, I mean, it's the most we can do, because we can't. Basically, we got to separate ourselves from them, but we got to look for ourselves within ourselves.
Right. Now, once you understand what our ancestors used to tell us about stuff was always coded with multiple streams of information in a single sentence, right? That's what they call an embedded message, right? Now, some of us gonna figure it out by listening to our elders as we grow up, we gonna recognize the additional information in those little rhythmic bites of information passed in a poem, a song, or painted in a wall. We begin to see the images form a story that tell us how to move and stay 10 steps ahead of the enemy. So while he think because it was only 7 moves left and this is the last move has already been made and he's in checkmate, he's staring at the board trying to figure out what can he do to get out of checkmate when he's already checkmated. Game over.
This is just the
Now,
head fake part of it.
yeah. So now he's trying to convince all of the people that won that it's business as usual, so they won't let him fall from his lowly high position.
I got you. I got you. I got you.
And that's why if you listen to what's my man name? Billy Carson. Billy Carson said all we gotta do is stop participating in the game over. Then
Yes.
there's all kinds of people saying the same thing. The sister on TikTok said on September the 1st they was done working. Everybody know that the only way to kill the system is to abandon the system due to the discovery of the fraud.
So even inadvertently, if we had abandoned the system, inadvertently, there'd be situations that arise, like say a lot of people didn't take that they didn't take that thing and they lost they gig from not taking that thing. You know what I mean? Inadvertently, that they abandoned the system.
They trying to force you out. The system is using all of those tyrannical activities to drive you out of the system.
Analytics,
They
all of that.
want you to be so fed up that you don't want it no more. You want something better, you want something different. So they're going to keep using all of those things to punish you with under the pretense of helping you until you realize that they was the enemy the whole fucking time. Stella Stone, you right, sweetie. If we stand up,
Okay. Rod, I'm not going to take up your time tonight. I know other people want to get in here. I appreciate talking to you, man. I've watched you for a while, and I appreciate your work. I definitely will be contacting you next. You know, is this your channel, or is this someone?
I'm learning from my homeboy how to operate this system, so I can know how to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
but
man.
we also doing tribal business at the same time.
Yes, sir. And that's one thing I wanted to do, was get my tribe together. That was my goal in this. And you know, a lot of stories have been passed down, and I know for certain we're great people. You know, even the names of my family are just. For instance, we had a great grandfather named General Miller, and he put down on paper that he was Indian.
Yeah. So look, you got war chiefs and you got war generals, advisors to the chief. That's what he was. They use it as their name as opposed to their rank. That he had to grow into his name. He was probably given a name at birth by a native clan that know that he got to understand what a general is, and then he got to think like a warrior. Then he's gonna know what the problem is and what his role is or his position on the board.
Okay. He passed that name down to 3 individuals, and just this morning I found out, you know, we migrated north, but inadvertently the last general died where his tribe is from. You following me?
I'm with you. I know exactly what you're saying.
And I'm tying these things together. You know, as I look down into I looked at my genetics and I look down my family tree. Every place I've almost touched, one of my ancestors has been.
Hmm. That's because, okay, so in the westerns, you always see a chief riding around the land on a horse. Today, that would probably be a motorcycle or a little cheap jeep.
Okay.
Surveying the land is what it's called. In the course of your life, you'll find yourself in your local town. For some reason, this day will take you all around the outer perimeter of your town, and then it'll send you to the interior back to your home in a specific route. You surveying the land as a chief. You don't know what you're doing consciously, but the land is moving you. And especially if you find a woman that loves you unconditionally like your mama, then you begin to expand your territory and make alliances across the land. You don't even know what the fuck you doing it for. You just, just being you.
Rod, you hit it on the head. Like I do what I love. And it just so happens that in that it calls for long travel. I'm talking about 8-hour plane rides.
Mm-hmm.
But I found myself in the woods in Mesquite, Texas, looking for the Jesse James cabin.
Look, all them outlaws, they was robbing Big Mama Bank to force the local banks, the family banks, to close and to side with the FDIC, what we know today as the Federal Reserve Banking Network, that was
Oh,
expanding the financial wave across the land to steal our shit.
listen, man, man. Listen. I've said enough tonight, y'all. I enjoyed the show, Rod. I will be back. I gotta let this sizzle for a minute. I appreciate you, my good brother.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Talk to you later.
Much love.
All time, all time. Yeah. Um, you are absolutely right. But a lot of the tribes they told us was extinct is walking around right now calling themselves niggas in the hood with their pants sagging under their ass. The only reason they doing that because they feel like their ass is out, so they walk around with their ass out. So with that, I'm gonna wrap this up. I appreciate y'all time. I hope I was able to give y'all a little insight into how their judgment is what reclassified us as an exonym. We didn't ask these people to classify us in any kind of way. The autonyms was the names and the terms that were used to describe who we were ourselves. The exonym is who they came over here and told us that we were. When you study the word more, you find out that the word more is an exonym that's tied to a systematic war effort to usurp organic people and replace them with a nomadic tribe and give them our homeland. Y'all gotta be some goddamn fools. We don't believe in selling off land because to the chiefs, that sound like you asking them for you to sell them your mama. And so we get offended when people are saying that we sold the land and that's how the invaders got it. No, we lost in warfare. We adapted, adjusted, and changed the method by which we fought the war, and we went into a conjure war. In the course of the Conjure War, now it's time to cash in on the victory of the winner of the Conjure War, which would be none other than the organic tribes of the land, us as a people. If y'all keep forcing these children to participate in these people's system, they gonna make y'all pay for it in such a more miserable and frustrating way. The sad part about it is enough people not gonna hear this warning, and the ones that hear it, even less people are going to adhere and start homeschooling their child because something is being plotted. They got a whole lot of babies scripted to make an exit at an early age in the group. If y'all don't figure out what's going on, they give you every indication that they are going to do something drastic to the children this year to make y'all take them out of their school system because their system is falling. That's dope. Because their system is falling, they don't want you to know that. So they're going to try to use misery and suffering as the tool to corral you in to your oppression. I'm just telling y'all. They planning on hurting some babies. That's the plan. Look, when the wealth return, we're gonna be tracing back to a specific big mama, and we'll be able to trace that big mama to a large piece of land that she presided over. All of us migrated off of the farms of the South into the Industrial Revolution to try to change the way we was being forced to live by being blocked out of benefiting from our sharecrop goods. It's the same as the record labels and the contracts they doing in entertainment today. It's sharecropper agreements. So under the sharecropper agreements, they use that to swindle us out of the land. And when they did that to our elders, none of us was supposed to figure out how to grandfather clause all of the enemies into the time before they came, use the system that was in place by our ancestors before those people ever arrived to call for a unity in the collective tribes. We talk about well over 500 nations. And when you get this collective tribal unity put together without nobody knowing what's going on, somebody got to sound the alarm because we're about to set it off. I'm taking back my city. Fuck what you thought, right? So now I'm on here, social media, because it's time stamped, dated, archivable information suitable for a public notice, and all I need is 1,000 people to have visually seen the public notice in order for it to activate. So once it's noticed to agent is noticed to principal, notice to principal is noticed to agent. And this is when we brought it all to an end. So it's 10:04, that's 10 toes down on the square, on the upright. 44 Angel Bay, flip 44 Big Tookie, that's left and right, red and blue. 1, 2 become 1 on the purple house flip, off of a red nose, black girl magic, on the dream vision, to flip out an answer to a question, to bring the people to the understanding that you was reclassified as something you're not, in order for somebody who don't belong here to convince you that they who you supposed to be. And with that, I'll leave y'all feathers up. Peace out, my nieces.
Go from the corner. Yeah.